know, Talia War does split up the team. Zeph's going to be isolated. The Devour pulls him back into the pit. It's going to be a smite wall. One by Afflict, and now Misfits are going to go in looking for more. It's 2 kills already. 3 as Zeph falls. It's all Pyke executing everything as Pox gets all the kills, and my mic cuts out, I feel. It's a wipe. It's a clean ace.
Diabolus's Anthrax and Cookie were unstoppable on this Saya Rakan combo.
Chrisberg rooted on up. This could be first blood coming through. The flashes are there, and it is going to be easy.
Ever seen a Dr. Mundo solo kill a Cho'Gath?
Yes,
now you have.
But it relies on him getting low on HP. You actually have to use some of your own HP as well.
We're seeing it here. Flakish is going in. That's going to be the flash away from Flakish, and oh, first blood comes through. I was wrong.
You'd think that when you have Shockwave in your name, that you might be pretty good at Orianna. Turns out Eminem's Shockwave is just that. Look at this 4-man ult.
And Eminem now with a chance to turn this one around. The Seismic Shove easily dodged on out. So far, so good for Eminem. Oh, it's going to be the ultimate. In fact, they're going in. It's going to be the ultimate. Oh, it's a 3-man. Everyone gets pulled on in. And Tax are in so much trouble. 2 kills already for Eminem. 3 make it. All of them are dead. And Sendo down in bot lane didn't even know what happened. It's going to be a Baron for Eminem. Hello and welcome to Forge of Champions. My name is Jake Hyperion Matthews. Joining me here on the desk for today is Celtic Tiger Brennan and Joshua Dowsey Douse. I think I got it right there.
You purposely went with the Z instead of the C,
definitely
didn't you?
did.
Yeah.
We're coming live from our studio here in Barcelona until we do get ourselves set up in London. How are you feeling, gentlemen, today?
Looking good. I'm hoping for some good games. As yesterday we had one series that went a little to 3 games, but the first one wasn't so fun with the funnel comps, so we'll see.
I mean, I'm just living my best life.
I hate you. I literally hate you so much. If anyone doesn't know, I hate that term.
It's been good. Really enjoying the tournament so far. It's really good to see the teams that faced off last week facing off again and seeing what they're bringing to the table. Today, most interested in what some of the teams that we haven't seen yet, especially from the Premiership side, are bringing as well.
Yeah, and I mean, our first matchup is obviously going to be Digital Warfare versus Hyperion.
Digital Welfare.
We'll be breaking that down a little bit later, but a couple of, I mean, Digital Warfare, a team we haven't seen for a little while, actually, within the scene, and we'll be stepping up today, so whether or not they actually have what it takes to go up toe-to-toe versus Hyperion. But if anyone is wondering how to sign up for the Forge of Champions, because it's broken down into multiple qualifiers, you head over to www.forgeofchampions.com.
C-O-M.
What was it?
Calm to most people.
I tried to get the Spanish way to say it, but I can't remember how to do it. We were told before how to do it. But
Triple S?
Triple S W?
Triple S.
There you go. Triple-S-forgechampions.com. That's how you sign up.
Yeah.
To get yourself in. Obviously, there are still 2 qualifier stages to go, so you do have a chance to make it through to those finals, you know. Win yourself a spot there on the EU Masters.
And it's important because each qualifying tournament is worth more points than the previous. So just by getting to the round of 16 for the scoring tournaments, you're earning more points than anyone else who's been to the scoring tournament at that round of 16 stage as well.
Good information to know. If you do want to get more information as well, you can follow us on our Twitter and our YouTube at LVPUK. Just get yourself all the updates and all the following stuff you want to do. All our VODs and highlight videos do go on the YouTube as well. Plus with some tasty memes every now and then gets posted on the Twitter. But also, if you just want to have a little discussion, join in with us here on the desk. Use the hashtag ForgeOfChampions2. And we'll be watching that, monitoring that. We did have some questions, actually, we did want to bring up as well.
Right.
Yesterday, well, actually, to be fair, this morning we had a pretty in-depth discussion about when you put your socks on, whether or not you put them on before or after your jeans go on. Ask us any questions like that. We will bring them up later on the desk.
It was awful. So many people were just so wrong.
But we did get the full agreement, but it was actually socks on last was pretty much.
But that was the full agreement, was it?
Yeah,
that was the general consensus.
Because John Allen joined with you.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
one of our observers from the UK, and he's always wrong.
One of the observers from the UK as well. You will not let that die. John Allen is a shoutcaster, one of our colleagues. Yes.
Yeah, he is. But yeah,
I've lost my spot, but do use the hashtag for some questions.
Yeah, I mean, we're up for questions.
Yeah.
We fielded a few.
Yep.
All of them have ended in horrendous debates.
And we're just going to stick
just
by
gonna
our
keep going on,
opinions.
Yeah, we're going to keep going with that. But for you guys watching in for the first time or just a little confused about how Forge of Champions works, let's show you actually how the broader spectrum of this tournament works. Obviously, the tournament is broken down into 4 stages. Hopefully we'll have something pop up in a minute. There we are. 4 qualifying stages obviously do lead you towards that grand finals, which is the best of 8 teams. The qualifiers are then broken up into 2 segments, the open stage and the scoring stage. Open stage is open to as many sign-ups as possible, and it slowly makes its way all the way down to 8 surviving teams who then go through to the all-important scoring stage. This is where you're going to earn yourself points and cash. 8 surviving teams will be playing in a round of 16 going forward towards the round of 8, which then leads into points and money, which is always nice. Then obviously, once you get through these 4 qualifying stages, we are working our way towards the grand final, which is the best of the 8 teams. Cash pool prize is obviously up for grabs as well. And most importantly, a spot on the European Masters for the team that wins the grand final. Also, the team with the highest points coming out of the qualifying stages, if you're not the victor, it'll be second highest, does go through to the European Masters. And the finals for the Forge of Champions is in September.
It is, yep. I believe beginning of August, end of August, beginning of September, with the semi-finalists being here live from Barcelona, so they get to come visit us as well. Yep. The grand finals worth almost half of the overall cash prize pool as well of Forge of Champions, which is 50,000 overall, so 24,000 for the grand finals as well. So lots of money to be earned through these qualifying tournaments, but if you are one of those top 8 teams, that's when it starts to come together.
Yeah, well, lots of money up for grabs, but we still got to get through qualifier 2. So let's actually have a look at our first matchup of the day. It will be Digital Warfare taking on Hyperion. 2 teams, like I said, we haven't really seen... I mean, Hyperion obviously played in Prem last split, so, you know, they're a team we've had around for a little while, but Digital Warfare, you know, team they've been around since, I think it was around Insomnia 60, if I remember right.
Right.
But they obviously are going to be...
I mean, you casted the finals.
Yeah, I did cast that finals.
So you remember them well, I'm sure.
Yeah, Enclave won that finals. Yeah, I remember that much.
Yeah, so Digital Warfare, I think starting around the same time as Enclave as well. So 2 organizations who entered the UK at the same time to try and, you know, show what they could do. Enclave have kind of gone down the road of we're going to recruit members to our team that are going to fulfill the needs that we want, whereas Digital Warfare have gone down a more let's grow a roster, let's see what we can do. So they've been playing, you know, 2nd Division Prem, really trying to get this roster together, and I think this roster has a lot of experience. Yesterday, they won a forfeited match to Wind and Rain, who broke a tournament rule, so they had that match disqualified. And so, you know, that's the 2nd place team as far as score is concerned. I'll be really interested to see against Hyperion, who theoretically is an easier opposition, if they can, you know, really show up here.
Yeah. And, I mean, Hyperion are a team we have a little bit more information on. You know, they're a team we followed for a little bit longer. Talk to me, Taig. I mean, we got a few returning members for Hyperion, but overall it's a fairly new roster, really. You know, a couple of players coming in from different teams. I believe Demo and DanXD do remain on the team. I have to double check that, but they do remain over from ESL Prem. Snuggly, a player who
played on Barrage.
He played a Barrage. Was it Barrage?
Yep.
He played on Enclave, I swear, at the end of last year. No, Enclave was Daddy Shogun. Yeah. So I can't remember where Snuggly played. Sorry, mate.
Barrage.
Talk to me about
Barrage.
this.
You said Barrage.
Was it? Yeah. Okay, it was Barrage.
I'm just
basically, I'm just ignoring you.
That's fine.
I'm talking to Taig, okay? You talk when you're spoken to. It's not that bad. Right. Talk to me about these teams.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have Hyperion coming in as the Prem team, but they haven't looked particularly strong. Even in the last qualifying tournament, they ended up going down to Phelan. So this time, looking to have a much better showing, I think. And coming this far into it, at least they've gotten casted this time.
Yeah, at least they have got casted. Let's bring up that bracket so you can see actually what is happening. Obviously, yesterday we did have XL and Diabolus get themselves their wins. 2-1 to Diabolus, and it was a 2-0 by XL. Misfits Academy will be taking on Enclave later on in the day, and for now, the winner of this game will be taking on the winner of the next game coming up next week. So lots to play for, actually. You know, you're getting very close towards that finals, getting closer towards those points, like you said, Josh. Each qualifying stage is worth more points.
Right. So, for example, winning the 2nd qualifying tournament is worth 3,300 points. The 1st qualifying tournament that we had finalized last week, that was worth 2,200 to the winner. And then the fourth one is worth 5,500. So it just gets bigger and bigger each time. It promotes consistency, but also encourages people who may be coming into the tournament late to enter in via the open bracket and really have a shot at trying to get into
Play
the
the
top
late
8.
game.
I mean, you should play the consistent game, really.
Yeah, I mean, try snowball it.
Yeah, snowballing is fine, yeah.
And it does. It does mean for like really good storylines as well. Potential for like miracle runs and miracle comebacks from some of the smaller teams. So, you know, there's still like, if you lose the first 2 qualifying tournaments, you don't do particularly well in them. It's not the end of the world. You still have hope. You still have a chance, and you never know. It could be your Cinderella tale.
Yeah. I mean, it could be.
Could be.
You could just lose.
You meant to catch that and run with that, guys.
Yep.
Glass zippers is something that Cinderella had.
Good job.
That's how they found her in the end.
Yeah, I feel like a monarchy based on shoe size is not solidly run.
I mean, but that's the UK scene. So,
I don't think Elizabeth got in on her shoe size, mate.
no, league scene.
Oh, okay.
They got in on shoe size, apparently.
For sure.
Okay, cool. I mean, I'll tell you about the... Did you hear about the original Cinderella? Like the actual fairy tale one?
It was like, all fairy tales are like gross.
Yeah. The ugly stepsisters cut their feet up on the glass slippers and died.
Nice.
That's actually true. Little Mermaid also died. Early fairy tales are actually pretty horrible.
She turned into sea foam.
Oh, that's kind of like, yeah.
It's kind of worse in a way.
Living, so that's what dying is. Let's talk a little bit more about this, obviously. Digital Warfare, a team who, as far as us as casters, have been able to scout. Maybe it's been a little bit harder for us, you know. A couple of the casters have been able to do some of the earlier stages in the brackets. You know, Orcs has been heavily involved in that. So if you do follow him on Twitter,
Based Orcs.
he obviously is streaming sometimes solo, just kind of keeping this up to date with some of these open brackets. While you're there, you might as well follow us as well. I'm HYPERION Cast, and these two doesn't matter so much. How are we feeling about Digital Warfare's chances in this game?
They're kind of an unknown factor, and I'm hoping that means that they'll bring something a bit more exciting, potentially just showing up when, because they haven't had to play in the round of 16, they might have more to surprise them with, and they haven't had to show their strategies yet.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for me as well. Digital Warfare, there's no real pressure on them to do anything here. They've already gone further than, you know, potentially anticipated. They've made it to the round of 8, where they get those points that are so important, as well as, you know, starting to pocket some cash as well. Now it's all about what can they actually pull out when it comes to draft. Will they be able to build a composition that has clear win conditions? Will they then be able to execute those whilst in game? Because Hyperion are looking to try and play around Demo through the jungle. And so if Demo is able to, you know, get the good jungle matchups that he wants, and then really get good lane priority with the ganks and whatnot, then Digital Warfare may be in trouble. I think Ness, who's the jungler for Digital Warfare, has a big job in front of them, because I feel like that's going to be where this game is won. Yeah,
and I think the big thing for me with Demo is that that's kind of reflected in a lot of the picks he goes for. He goes for things like the Nidalee. You know, things that just really heavily punish them in the early game, and as you go into the mid game, you're lucky to just end the game.
It just seems to be very two styles of UK junglers. You have people like Demo, people like Afflict as well, who like to play the aggression style and go for these early plays. And you have junglers like Monkeys, who play more into this tanky kind of team fight based role, where they maybe take a bit of a step back and alleviate pressure in the lanes. So versus Demo and Ness, I'm curious to see actually how this matchup works out, because Demo, you expect him to either be invading into the jungle and making the plays, or just going for ganks.
So essentially what you're saying is that today's Forge of Champions quarterfinal broadcast is all focused around the jungle. We have Demo versus Ness.
You said it here. We got 2 jungle mains, so like you guys are the ones casting the game, so I'm expecting lots of jungle attention from both of you two.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
I know a bit about laning. I play a lot of different stuff outside of that. Not as well.
Yeah.
not nearly as well. I mean, I play a solid Zoe, if anyone wants to, you know, chime in on that. Nothing positive, I imagine, but...
Okay, use the hashtag #ForgeChampions 2 to see if you want a 1v1 Tig here. See if you can beat him in a Zoe off. There you go. You said it first.
Yeah.
He's going to give you 50 quid if he beats you as well.
I am not. I don't have 50 quid to give
50 euros. He's from Ireland.
50
That's
euros,
true.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
Not quite as much.
Still don't have that, but yeah.
Talking about picks and bans, what are we expecting to see? I mean, we've mentioned Demo's Nidalee. Is there anything else we're expecting to see come out of here?
Yeah, I mean, Dan XD loves Poppy, and he'll play it in any meta, pretty much in the top side. So
just UK top laner things.
I mean, yeah. So and this is a really interesting thing. Like in Hyperion's round of 16 match previously, it was a Poppy in the first game, and then it was an R. in the second game. So, you know, these aren't your S tier meta
They're
picks
solid
in the top side.
A-tier,
Yeah,
but
of course, right.
yeah.
But it's strange that those are the priorities that Hyperion are putting on it. Essentially saying, you know, we are focusing on comfort more than what's meta, and then playing more around demo and Adam and Yusa. I mean, Yusa's I think Adam and Yusa are debuting here in competitive. Yusa, you know, is a High Masters UK AD carry. Will really be looking to kind of come to the AD carry scene and say, hi, I'm from the UK and I want to be the best, which is pretty much what the
He
UK
wants to be the
is.
very
It's a good
best,
statement.
like
Yeah.
no one ever was.
Yeah. I mean, Snuggly
Like some people were.
also thinks he's very attractive.
Snuggly, that seems to be a bit of a theme with him. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people are very attractive.
I mean, Yusa is very attractive.
he's
I
just
will
a very loving
chime in on
guy.
that. Yeah.
Snuggly, one might say.
Oh boy, have we already divulged into chaos at this point?
We're waiting for the
It's-
picks and bans to
Yeah.
start here.
Alright, we're waiting. We've had a little bit of a chat about some of these teams, some of these playstyles. Once we see picks and bans, we'll see whether or not we get more funnel comps. Hopefully we do, because then
No.
I don't have to deal with it.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No,
not in this
think.
game.
Not in this game, not at all. I think we're going to probably see some more standard League of Legends, especially for the UK scene standard.
Right.
Mid definitely looking to roam. Typically that is how these
I mean,
these UK mids like to play.
I mean, it fits the meta right now. You want to play early aggression so your mid game's strong enough, because with the buffs to Baron, just everything in this meta allows you to just quickly push towers and the game after one team fight.
and I'll be really surprised if we actually go away from, you know, standard marksman picks here as well. Both these guys seemingly focusing more on marksman picks, you know, especially in solo queues. So if we do get something strange, if we, you know, get a Vladimir or a Heimerdinger come through, then this is a composition that they've kind of kept under the ropes. They're really looking to try and use to get a lead, and so it's going to be really interesting. If that does appear, it's very unusual for both these teams, and so if it succeeds, then that's something you have to consider going forward into the tournament.
yeah, I think if we get a Heimerdinger, Tig might get a little bit too excited. He's been
I've
banging
been
on
waiting
about the
for it.
Heimerdinger.
It's so good.
Yeah,
It
and
is.
it hasn't been banned. Like no one's putting priority on it here. I think that's just a regional thing.
Apart from
like we're
Jokerism.
very much about our marksman bot lane still.
Yeah, no, that's true.
It feels like the adaptation.
And I don't think that's a problem, really, because, you know, when you consider the fact that internationally, a lot of people have tried these more unconventional bot lanes, it's really only the top European teams that are really making it work. Everywhere else is kind of struggling with it and sticking to marksmans.
But I'm like, how will the UK face off against Korea if they don't master all metas?
I mean, when UK SKT Telecom come and, you know, Faker gets a brand new deal to play in the UK scene.
I mean, he could sign
in
up.
2020. That's going to be the question we'll be asking.
We're not there yet.
I mean, we're going to
We're
Fortune
currently
champions,
playing
aren't
on
we?
8.13, so we're not quite there yet. Obviously this is the mini hot fix patch where Aatrox is pretty busted.
And then
so,
Caitlyn, Tristana.
yeah, so a lot of these
Storm
ADCs
Razors,
exactly. This is
yep.
the point.
Not
There's a lot-
broken, but better.
And
a
we-
lot of these ADCs are able to actually survive laning phase. You know, they don't have inherently weak laning phases anymore. A lot of these crit ADCs definitely had a bit of a buff. It kind of gave them a bit more life moving into the later game.
Feels like Tristana's the main one that's kind of shining out of all of the changes.
The biggest issue is that their laning phases are still weaker than
Right.
most of the other mages. However, once they get past those, most of the buffs help with, okay, you managed to survive lane, now you actually get to do things.
It's quite interesting actually, because no other region is putting that much emphasis on the Tristana. We seem to be the only region in the world that's like, yeah, Tristana's really good. And maybe
Clearly
that's
it's
just
the others that are wrong.
Yeah, I think it's actually more a play style thing than actually us being inherently wrong. Our games do go later than general other regions. How that will face up when we move to EU Masters, you know, the meta will be very different by then. But
I mean, the amount of notes I have in my notebook about UK AD carries and how they're a late game insurance
yeah,
is...
I mean, that's literally it. Yeah, I can't think of a UK ADC who's not like late game. A lot of them all like. You get some that are decent in laning phase, but like every UK ADC comes alive in the late game, and that's where they play for. Where some play, like in other regions, a lot of these ADCs like to play for the mid game, some like to play just for the laning pressure, but in UK it seems like that is just a play style thing, and mid and top is the priority for early game, and then you just leave bot alone, and then just hope the better bot laner comes out in the late game.
I mean, I will say proactive play is always going to be that little bit harder to execute on, because it's a lot easier to play defensive. If they've tower dived you and you outplay them, you get a lot back without having to do a huge amount.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense in terms of safety if you're not fully confident that you can make it work. But considering you have such aggression coming out from the jungle and mid, I would at some point like to see that reflected in the bot lane.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I think we've given a nice little analysis of the UK scene and how that works. So I'm gonna divulge a little bit while we wait for picks and bans.
Yep.
Would you rather be seen outside with
Yes.
socks and sandals or slippers?
Slippers. That's not even a question for me.
So you don't think anyone goes, that guy's in slippers?
I bet you do.
That guy
I bet
is
you're like,
comfortable as hell.
You 100% will wear socks and sandals.
Oh,
I
no,
can
no,
tell.
no.
I can tell.
I'm not a socks and sandals guy.
I mean,
I don't think anyone's a socks and sandals guy.
there are lots
there-
of socks and
there
sandals
clearly is,
guys.
because people
not
talk
under
about
the not
socks and
under
sandals.
the age of 40.
So I can totally assume that socks and sandals must be comfy, but I
mean-
would not seem dead.
I mean, you might as well just wear socks at that point.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not go into socks. We talk about socks so much. I think we just had a bit of a feet-focused broadcast for the last few days. We should probably move to another part of the human body.
Oh, why the human body? I mean, toilet paper is pretty interesting.
Okay, hit me up with a question about toilet paper.
I mean,
That's a dangerous fucking transition. Okay.
Do you have it over or under? And there is a
Oh,
correct way
okay.
to do it, and if you are wrong, you're wrong.
Over.
Over. I mean, I think the big thing is you go under if you're worried that a pet will scratch at it, but otherwise you're over.
100% wrong. You're just both wrong. Fired.
I mean, you're from Australia, so you're upside down. So your
Yeah,
theory is
that makes
upside
sense.
down.
Oh,
So
so
your
because our
toilet
toilets
paper
go
is
the
also
other way.
upside down.
Yeah.
That's
It's definitely under. I mean, why would you put it over? It's so much more hassle if it's over.
It's. I mean, like.
If it's
less
under,
hassle, you just roll it down.
This conversation's always been a bit of a weird one for me because, like, neither's
if
like.
it flips over, it never flips over when
neither's
it's
like
under.
too much of a problem. Like, what are you doing with your toilet paper to make it flip over?
I
Like,
mean, sometimes when you pull
what are
it,
you doing to it?
I'm just using some. I'm just using the bulk, you know.
Yeah.
Nothing too special. Hey, we got Pigs and Vans.
Hey, there we are. Right, Ready and Soul taken off the board by Digital Warfare, who will be starting out on that blue side. Hyperion on the red side. Thank God we're off toilet paper. Don't.
And onto the
Again,
Don't take the
UKC.
bait. Don't take the bait.
Not. Use your words better. Anyway, Pix bans. Banning away Aurelion Sol is interesting. I like this, considering
a
we
lot of
just
it.
talked about the UK scene being really important in terms of your mid priority. Aurelion Sol is pretty much free mid priority. The next one being Talon, who's much riskier to try go for.
And we also have the Talia as well. You know, you can run it mid, you can run it jungle as well, so it's a bit of a flex pick, which gives it a bit of that double-edged threat.
Yeah, I mean, it's super high priority, but the issue there is while it can push and get priority, it's not quite as good as it used to be in that regard. The AoE was obviously why Talia was constantly picked in the mid lane before.
Yeah, well, we've had Aatrox, we've had Rakan taken off so far. Hyperion definitely running the clock down with their bans, you know, giving a bit of thought into it, making sure they have this planned out.
I'm kind of glad. I would have been very worried if they had not planned their picks and bans.
Well, I mean, it's hard to plan them though. Is the thing, because we've already talked about how Digital Warfare have been an open bracket team. Their games aren't recorded via the website, via the API. It's only when you get to the scoring stage that you start to get that API statistics. So it is a little bit more difficult for Hyperion to actually craft bans based on that. They would have to go and look at old second division games if they really want to get some stats. And then even then, it's probably more likely that you just look at what people are spamming at sort of
Yeah, and I mean,
go,
the
do I
meta's
want to
changed
play
since
against
then,
that?
yeah.
Probably not. Yeah, well, the meta's changed a lot.
Yeah.
There's actually quite a lot open still so far. So you've had the Braum taken away, the Swain's gone as well, but, you know, Hyperion, no matter what they ban, you've still got things like the Nocturne open, you've still got the Zoe open, the Talia for the
Talia's
moment
where
is
I'm
still
looking,
open.
yeah.
I'm going to
expecting-
ban away the Zoe from the side of Hyperion, so I expect to see a Talia first pick, but I have to see
Makes
whether or not
sense.
Nesu can
Nah,
actually
Lucian's
play.
going to get locked in here, I think, if you're...
Lucian Braum would be the next lock-in, or
Oh, Brom's banned, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
amount of priority that we see from UK AD carries on Lucian would surprise me if Digital Warfare aren't interested in that.
And it's interesting that we put so much priority on the Lucian, considering we just had a conversation about how UK
Oh my
ADCs like
God.
to play for
They've
lane.
done
it.
There it is, the
Thank the
Heimerdinger.
Lord. I was so
Wow.
worried that no one was going to
He's
even
going top.
attempt it.
He's going top lane.
I mean,
No,
we were
no,
talking
imagine.
about this
Yeah.
one possibility that, you know, one of these teams
Take
pulls out
Fiddle
the
with
Fiddle bot.
Fiddle Heimerdinger is
So what do you play into
disgusting.
it? Now you know that Heimerding's picked. It's more likely it's in the bot lane than it is
My favorite counter pick to it is pick Syndra.
Yeah.
So
Syndra's
just
really
go-
good. You pick up the turrets,
you
you,
go
throw
kill
them
mage
either
lane.
under your own turret or
Yeah.
back onto them.
This is actually also a fairly decent pick into the Heimerdinger because you can put the pull down and do some damage to the turrets. You can poke them down, enough for your ADC to be able to take them out without taking too much damage from the turrets.
The big thing for me with Morgana is that you can actually black shield something like Fiddle being picked with Heimerdinger, because
Yes.
the biggest worry when you're against Heimer is that the support CCs you under his towers. So, see that the Talia we were expecting priority on gets locked in too, so.
Yeah, decent actually rotation there for Hyperion. Now, Fiddlesticks is still available, so we could see them potentially want to pick this up here. We'll have to see where the priority sits because, like I said, Nocturne's still available. You've got quite a few options still up.
Sejuani into Talia is quite good.
Or you could just go for a little bit more aggression, pick similar to the Sejuani in the fact that you got that tank moving into late, but it just has a little bit more aggression. So Skarner actually going to get picked up by Digital Warfare.
The big thing for me with Skarner as well is he could just drag people through Heimerdinger's turrets. So at that point you're really
through
struggling.
the car wash, just drag them by their ankles.
Pretty much. I think that's pretty much all Skarner does. He does become a bit of an ult bot, but the nice thing is that he's really good at dueling early as well.
Well, one more pick going through before we go into ban phase 2 for the side of Digital Warfare. They're going to be picking up the Xerath, so a little bit of a different mid lane. I haven't seen this one for a while. It does obviously have that push ability, but it's not really a roaming mid.
I mean, the nice thing is that you can push it up, and much like TF, you kind of walk out the back of lane, so they don't know if you're trying to get an ult onto either side lane. So it does have some potential pressure to put down, but as you said, yeah, it can't really roam as easily.
Now, champion we completely overlooked is obviously that Dr. Mundo. Very tanky. We did see yesterday as well with last game of the day, just unable to deal with him. Just so much base damage and is so tanky.
Mundo's really good into comps like this where you've run really heavy AP because he has inbuilt MR.
Right.
So he can go Adaptive Helm and Spirit Visage, and they're going to really struggle to deal with them because healing's increased, and things like Heimerdinger, who require all their consistent damage to come out, just will be really heavily negated.
What do you ban here is the question, Ty. When you know that you're setting up for a bit more cheesy comp, do you then just start trying to ban
lane priority. You need to get rid of as much lane priority as possible so that you at least want to, and I like what they're doing there with the Darius ban, you at least want to control from the top side.
Right.
That means as a jungler you could start playing towards there and maybe try get that into the mid lane.
And I mean, that's one thing that HYPERION always do when they draft is look for the lane priority themselves, you know, in all their picks. And so I feel like trying to pick up this Heimerdinger in the bot lane is a way of, you know, at least removing lane priority in one lane and trying to change things up a little bit. Really throw that spanner into the works. We're on there again. Second day in a row, still got it.
Yeah,
Woo!
It works this time because he was actually picked.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were talking about him being picked, so I suppose it
no
works.
more hypotheticals for Hyperion.
That's true. Yasuo, Lucian banned away here. For Hyperion, will they go mid lane? It feels like the safest thing to do, but you know, what are you doing? You're countering a...
You should try counter pick mid.
Yeah.
Oh no, you should try counter pick mid at the end because that Xerath could still be support Xerath.
Ooh, okay,
yeah, you have Aurelia open as well, so if it is something like a Xerath, Aurelia can always dive on him. I know he has a lot more range than her, but this is one of the things that Aurelia is very good at, is just killing down these low mobility mid laners, especially ones who are just going to look to shove. So it's obviously open, and we could see Hyperion maybe pick that up. Not sure whether or not Adam actually is capable of playing the Aurelia. That's obviously one of the questions, because she takes a very different style of play from what a lot of mid laners, especially UK mid laners, are used to.
The biggest issue with Aurelia, especially after the nerfs, is you really need to know your damage.
Yeah.
Because it's not like pre-nerfs where you can just queue onto them and kill them by accident. You actually have to know, okay, I've set up the stun, I can get this rotation off, and I can always use a minion to get out of the way.
Well, going to be picking up the GP for Digital Warfare, and could actually very well be that support Xerath.
Yeah.
And that will be the case, as they are going to lock in the Orianna, so lots of magic damage for the side of Digital Warfare. And Gangplank obviously was going to want a little bit of time to scale up, especially with the new changes to some of the items. He typically takes a little bit more time to go as well, because you typically go Trinity Force into the Sterix, so you don't hit like... You don't get the crit GP like you used to.
Actually, Storm Razor is also very common on him because you can use that in your queues, which is quite nice. But Trinity Sterix with a Grasp of the Undying would be a little more standard, and I expect to see that here.
Yeah, will it be the tank flank or will it be the crit flank? Probably going to be the tank flank realistically. Let's talk about engage here.
Let's do it.
As both of these teams don't have a massively solid engage, you know, outside of Mundo just popping ult and running at you.
I mean, that's the benefit that Talia brings with her wall, is that you actually can just run at a team. If you cut them off, get a good engage, then Mundo is going to be able to get onto the front line.
And I would argue that Scatter the Weak is quite a good engage if you could set up a long line of spheres. My look, though, is towards Digital Warfare, who have the most linear engage possible in Skarner. Runs into the center, looks for an ultimate with Orianna ball on him. If people try to jump on that target, suddenly you get a massive Orianna ult.
You do obviously have the Gangplank as well. Yeah, you can slow them down with the GP. Obviously, Morgana will be able to deny one person from getting slowed, with the Black Shield, but it's telegraphed.
Heimerdinger's engage isn't actually that bad with his ult E, which is, I think, is the best combo for him. A lot of people like to talk about how the big turret does a huge amount of damage, or how the ult W is sometimes fun, but realistically, the shock grenade is a massive team fight utility.
And if you can do it from out of vision, from Fog of War, it completely catches teams off guard. You don't have very much time to reposition around it once you see the first one bounce.
Right.
So it's actually a very good engage tool, like you said. Both of these teams going to be relying on major cooldowns to really go for their engage. There's not anything overly solid from that. Hyperion, I think, are going to be looking to get engaged on and then turn it around for the counter engage. With Digital Warfare, I think they want to be looking to make the proactive plays here.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you pick Heimerdinger, you have to go, okay, I'm taking one tower, then immediately start rotating to the next. You need to constantly be putting down pressure, which is why I like the Skarner because of his early dueling ability, and then as it scales forward, he'll still always have that ability to.
Do you feel like Talia into the Skarner here is a pick that Hyperion are going to be able to work and get, you know, the jungle matchup that they want?
It really depends on how they move around. I think Talia still prefers to have Runic Echoes before she goes for these longer fights,
right,
especially against something like Skarner that can just get infinite mana, huge amount of attack speeds if you're on a Spire.
Yep.
So I'd be watching how Demo goes for ganks maybe to try shut down this bot lane. And then after that, can they just keep the Heimerdinger from constantly being allowed to push up?
It's going to be a pretty solid siege in Digital Warfare, considering they'll have the trifecta of turrets to play around and lots to work around. But obviously, with the Syndra, a big counter into that can obviously throw Heimerdinger's turrets at him, kind of break down the defense they set up if they do go in for the siege.
This is only when they manage to get Syndra down there, though. Because you haven't taken Syndra bot lane, it's only in the 5v5 that you can do that, and chances are, if Heimerdinger's laying down turrets that you can easily pick up, unless it's in a massive 5v5 ball team fight, which they already do quite well with Orianna and Gangplank, you're probably not going to get a chance to walk forward and pick up turrets.
This bot lane just going to continue hard pushing the Ezreal, but you pick the Ezreal to be safe in bot lane with a Morgana. Hyperion are going to look to scale that Ezreal up to the late game with a Dr. Mundo. You have a really good team fight. Digital Warfare are the team that has the most agency, I would say, from this draft. It's all on them to make the plays. All on them to dictate the pacing. All on them to push Hyperion around. I mean, there's no avoiding it. They got a little bit lucky with the forfeit disqualification from Wind and Rain, but now they're here in the quarterfinals, and they're against Hyperion. This is their chance now to really stack up points, really go deeper into the competition. If they win this game, this series, then they will play up against the winners of Enclave and Misfits. That would be pretty cute if it was Enclave as well, because then you've got, you know, the history behind the two teams, the orgs that started at the same time, and their different, you know, routes to success.
I think one of the things you do have to keep in mind, I'm glad you mentioned the Ezreal wave, like how he's going to play, because his wave clear is very, very weak. And obviously versus the Heimerdinger, I expect Heimerdinger Zeref is just going to push that lane constantly. So it's actually how Digital Warfare going to play the early sieges. Are they going to be constantly like just trying to push these turrets and then rotate as quick as possible and play the turret game? A bit like the Ziggs Fiddlestick. I'm sorry, the Ziggs Heimerdinger bot lane.
Exactly.
The primary point is you push up turrets, you rotate, and you constantly are just denying turret pressure to the enemy team, and you play around the global gold you can sustain in the early stages of the game, because as you do move later, especially into the mid game, Ezreal's poke will be really, really hard to work with and work around. Obviously, it's a Heimerdinger. He can be very safe. He can use his turrets to block the Qs. He can work around that, but it's still it's a hard one to really actually place how this goes mid game for me. I mean, you'll probably have a better understanding of this.
I mean, Digital Warfare has a really strong mid game, assuming they've played their early game correctly. That's the whole reason this is constantly pick ban. Heimerdinger controls the early game, as you said. They have complete agency of how this game goes. If they play it well in the early game, there's very little you can do against that, because Heimerdinger has the turret cooldowns and he has the team to back him up. I like the Gangplank pick here as well, because what it means is Skarner can pretty much ignore topside. You don't really want to gank for a Gangplank very often, so he can put his focus towards bot side, make sure that if Talia wants to go there, which is generally what you do if they're going to constantly be pushed up, see if you can get a kill out of them. I mean, it's going to be able to punish with the counter gank.
That's classic counterplay when you've got a top laner who's just looking to scale up to be a late game threat. Is that you put a scaling, you know, top laner against them. You know, the likes of a Gangplank who's like, you want to turn this into a farm fest? Happy days. You're just going to continue farming. You'll have the poke range as well, which means that he actually can, you know, have a bit of fun with Mundo if he wants to. There's 100% possibility that Gangplank, after this game, even if Digital Warfare loses, will have the most damage dealt in the game, just because he's going to be continuously poking against a Mundo all game. And then eventually, if he gets to the stage where he's doing enough damage that he's a threat, then you've kind of alleviated the fact that there is not much AD damage on your team. You know, they've drafted a team full of magic dealers, Xerath, Heimerdinger, and of course the Orianna. But then there's a Gangplank. You can't ignore the fact that he's just going to be critting you for lots of damage in the late game. And so Digital Warfare have kind of covered all bases, but they have to make it work.
Yep. We'll have to see whether or not they can make it work, because we have loaded through onto the Summer's Rift. So gentlemen, take us away.
I'm looking forward to this. I mean, I was talking about Heimerdinger, I was saying it's really good, and I want to see whether Digital Warfare, this relatively unknown team, can actually deliver on it.
I mean, yeah, no, me too. I want to see exactly what Digital Warfare have up their sleeves here. When you pull up a Heimerdinger on the big stage, that's pretty bold.
Yeah.
We saw Eminem try that against Wind and Rain. Was not successful whatsoever. They lost early game. In fact, I think they got first blooded in the bot lane as well.
And that's what I was saying. That's why I like the pick of Gangplank here. I'm hoping that Nest uses that and just puts constant pressure down there.
Yeah, I mean, Aragon will be putting the pressure from the top side.
I was really confused with the Aragon. I know it's from the book series,
right,
which I believe is where I think you actually are supposed to pronounce it Aragon as well. I have a friend who
the book
actually
series
read them. Yeah,
is meant to be pronounced Aragon as well.
Yeah, I mean it is just dragon but with an E.
Oh yeah, that's true. That
like they literally just pushed it up one letter.
Yeah, it's like you just typoed. Yeah. Probably what happened. His name was meant to be Dragon. Editor got the copy. What's a Aragon?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dragon's already taken. Push it up
copyrighted. Trademark. Yeah. We can't use that.
But on the Gangplank, should have relative safety.
You'd think so.
The big thing here is he's just taking that trade knowing he can heal it off with his Corrupting Potion, on top of the fact he has grasped the Undying Proc, or not grasped the Undying Procs actually, he's gone for the Kleptomancy, so he's going to scale up much quicker than before as well.
I want to watch exactly how Demo is looking to try and get advantage here. Dan is playing very aggressive, I love it.
I mean, he hit the level 2 first.
Yep.
Trying to use that to his advantage, on top of the fact that you can't really walk up into melee range as Gangplank here. What he was trying to do in the level 1 is because Gangplank's passive does a lot of damage early, just trying to use that there. But now that the level 2 has been hit by Mundo, you have to respect the constant cleaver spam on top of the EAD allows him to out-trade you.
And I mean, clearly there's kill pressure in the top side, especially earlier rather than later, with this Dr. Mundo GP. But it's this mid lane with Adam versus Vango, where things are going to get really feisty. With a Skarner, with a Talir, you have some good gank opportunities onto these mages.
It's really interesting that they went for the Syndra into Orianna. I know it's potentially part of the counter to Heimerdinger.
Yep.
But historically, Orianna was one of the things you picked into Syndra when she's strong, because you have that shielding ability, because you have the ability to just play far back and even build tier shield if you want.
Vango's in a bit of trouble here. I mean, how far does Adam want to go? There is an Ignite and a barrier. Demo's coming through, but you're just ticking away, holding onto your summoners.
If Demo wasn't there, that was a kill, because he could have walked forward, the clockwork wind up.
If Demo wasn't there, Adam wasn't playing that far forward.
That's probably fair. The barrier would have come down, but you also had, I mean, the flash from both sides, so could have been close.
Yeah, that would have been really interesting. That does mean that Adam is forced back to base, and of course, Vango going to match the recall. So far, so good. The early game not really falling too far anyway. Interestingly enough, though, it is DanXD winning CS in the top side.
Yeah, I mean...
Putting more pressure on as the Mundo.
That makes sense. You're Gangplank early, all you're doing is queuing. I wouldn't be surprised, he probably has more gold, because he's gotten a bunch of Klepto procs off him.
That's true.
If he gets any items off that, he should be doing better. So, we'll see how that goes for him. We'll see on their first backs whether he actually ends up getting more gold than him.
Here's Demo on the top side. Making his way through the bush. Looks like it might be an attempt onto Aragon. Flash forced. Good respect from Aragon there. Not wanting to be seismic shoved all around.
Yeah, I think it's pretty standard. Gangplank's immobile. You know Skarner probably won't play towards top side. Try to pressure it yourself. And
another flash. Snugly away from Bread here. Heimerdinger and Xerath. Lots of range, lots of poke. And they're really just trying to focus down Snugly by the looks of it.
Yeah. I do still like this Morgana pick, both into the Heimerdinger and into the Skarner as well. It's really important. You can make sure he doesn't get the free ultimate onto whichever carry is the most important as team fights roll around. See how that works.
Very quiet early game, you would consider. But really it's Hyperion who want to be trying to find more successes in the early game than not, because of the fact that if they can put behind Digital Warfare's mid-game power spikes, then they're in a much better scenario.
Yeah, and I think their kind of mid-game with the Orianna Heimerdinger is really strong, and then you'll probably also have Gangplank scaling up in that time, which I think is why he's gone for the Kleptomancy over the Grasp of the Undying. He'll have something of a spike with his items if he's getting enough procs there. See, he already has that Sheen available, so should be able to start pumping out damage surprisingly early.
Nest spotted on the bottom side of the map. Demo, of course, now with that information. Already forced the flash out of Iragon. We'll have to see if he does visit top anytime soon. Iragon holding onto his teleport, making a long walk down. Dan has pretty much had this topside wave frozen favorably, allowing for any potential Talia gank to come, even so when Demo pleases.
And this is why Klepto's nice, like, especially in a matchup where you know you're not going to be able to play very far up. You're going to be able to just constantly queue and find yourself a bit of gold without, even though you've fallen pretty far behind in CS.
User's doing alright in this spot side, hasn't really had too much trouble with Snuggly, the one who keeps getting bullied. Mid lane starting to get hot again. The Ignite's back up for Vango. Of course, Adam has all of his summoners, hasn't used it yet. Bit of a fight though as User forces the flash out of Zen. Great binding coming from Snuggly. Weren't going to play around with that.
And it was a really nice way for them
Demo's
to play.
bot lane as well. This actually is going to turn around in favor of Hyperion if they can catch him out. Flashes over, Seismic shove straight on in. It's first blood over to Snuggly. Fred just going to have to walk away from that.
Didn't have the move speed to get out of that, but he was also frozen during his W animation, so no way for Xerath to leave. Down he goes.
Really nice. Ganks coming out of Demo. This is exactly the way that Hyperion like to play. Give Demo the opportunities to have the jungle matchup he wants, and then put the priority on the lanes.
Yeah, and I was saying, you know, you want to be there constantly as the Skarner to counter gank, and we just haven't seen that. So with Ness having left that very much alone, they knew that that was going to be a free kill for them because Heimerdinger and Xerath had pushed really far up, on top of the fact that Xerath had just lost his flash.
Gonna see Dan popping up his ultimate here, really putting the pressure onto Ragan here. Going a bit crazy.
He actually cancelled what would have been a really nice passive auto there.
Right.
Burned it down, but
Is he gonna
now
dive?
It's going to be the dive, potentially.
No, not ready to dive just yet. Oh, he's so low. You've got the ultimate from Gangplank as well. You don't know where Skarner is. He hasn't been seen for a little bit. Probably safe not to go too hectic.
Yeah, and I mean, even speaking of that, you don't know where Talia is, which is why you're not just going to throw down the ultimate as Gangplank and try chase that down, because you know Talia, just having gotten a gank off in the bot side, might be moving towards her top side jungle, farming there, which she in fact is, and could well be there to just kill you.
Demo, red buff ready to go. Indicates that he'll be looking towards a lane shortly, try and put some pressure. Vango and Adam have had, you know, a bit of a back and forth extravaganza where Vango's currently winning about 10 CS on the lead. It's kind of what you want in the mid lane, is to continue having that CS lead.
Yeah, and I mean, that's surprising because every time we've seen the trades come down, we've seen Syndra actually do quite well. But sometimes it's not about the trading, it's about what you're getting between that.
How you right click on minions.
Yep.
And of course it's Orianna, you know, she has
one of the best
strongest
right clicks in the mid lane.
Oh my god. It's new information.
Minus Yasuo, of course.
I'm liking this information here. Oof.
Information's always good.
Yeah. Just trying out some new stuff. 1 in chat if you like this version. 2 in chat if you like the previous one. 3 in chat if you like this. I like this one personally.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, imagine if the draft was actually a game. I like this.
Okay,
Hey
hey,
guys, how you doing?
But I think the big thing for me is that, actually that one reminds me of, you know, the 3D views, when you have like the image split
That's
into
a couple,
three.
1, 2, 3 right there.
Yeah.
No worries.
Okay.
Bit
Looks
of a
like
pause
we're
coming
heading
out
into
as
a
well.
pause.
It might come back to us.
Yeah.
I see Mr. Jake Matthews putting on his headset, ready to talk about toilet paper some more, if necessary.
I mean, maybe some Heimerdinger. Who knows? He is
Heimerdinger.
truly an unknown quantity, much like Digital Warfare were.
Here's that replay, though, of Demo's first blood. Really nice stuff. Demo just, you know, using the mobility of Talia to get down to the bot lane as quickly as possible. After that flash was burnt, and then really putting the pressure straight on.
But you have to remember at the same time, this doesn't really stop the push. It just puts you that tiny bit ahead. So you have to continue to maintain this. And the reason you can see the Ezreal Morgana into this is doing okay is because you can put the Morgana pool down, use the Ezreal Qs out of the tower, out of the turret's range, and start trying to take them out. But you can see they're still struggling to actually maintain wave control while they're doing that.
Yeah, and that's the issue, is it's going to continue that way. The poking game that Professor Zen and Bread can kind of put together. Such a... I love some of the bot lane duo names that we've got, you know, Bread and Professor Zen. It's the dynamic duo. We've got Anthrax and Cookie, which is
Anthrax
probably...
Cookie just sounds like something you should never put together.
Or you should, if question mark.
If question mark, if Anthrax ever proves to be non-toxic, I don't think it ever will, considering that's its primary use.
Maybe we, as humans, evolve and develop
And Anthrax, it turns out it tastes lovely.
Yeah. That's why people keep eating it.
I mean, cookies already taste nice.
I mean, you have to discover that something's poisonous, right?
Yeah.
The first guy. Maybe
I feel like
some
Anthrax isn't something you just find on the street and you're like, oh, let's see if this one's poisonous. Like, it's synthesized.
Yeah, but, you know, you have to discover that in a lab, don't you?
Yeah. He's not even in this game. I think let's look at the standard food that is here, bread.
Bread's kind of good.
Yeah. Much less poisonous.
That's true.
I don't know how you scale how poisonous something is, but it's definitely in the non-toxic area.
I would say bread's pretty... It depends what kind of bread you're eating. White bread, delicious, but... I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe a little bit too much gluten.
Potentially. I mean, if you're a celiac, maybe it is toxic. Is this... There's the context where bread is toxic.
There you go.
Gotta
We
be
did
careful.
it. We did, chat. Saved.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, you're getting the standard from him, which is that Heimerdinger constantly pushing in. He's been now building towards that Luden's Echo. Try and get a bit of burst down. Could also go towards like a Morellonomicon early if you really want to. Probably will second item at the very least.
So let's recap just a little bit. We're 10 minutes into the game here. Just about 1,000 gold lead for Hyperion, who are your red side team. We have lost overlays, but it's alright. This is just
They
a
got hype on their
classic
names.
game of League of Legends that you're witnessing here. Does look like some setup now by Hyperion towards this Drake area. You know, they've taken control of the Drake Shrine, getting some wards. Really nice line of pink control wards there, just to provide vision. It's a Mountain Drake, so good priority towards the late game, especially if you are wanting to try and combat some of the things that Digital Warfare... Whoa, a flash of the wall. Vango did not want to be where he was.
I was actually going to argue that I think Mountain Drake is really important for Digital Warfare to secure because it improves their mid-game even more. All they want to do is push towers. 10% more damage, please.
Ragon's pretty low, but they know exactly where Talia is. Demo was spotted in the topside river. Not something that you want to be playing with.
I mean, DanXD still is his ultimate, and I think that's why he's willing to play that far up.
Yep.
Mundo,
Here
always
he
a
comes.
difficult champion to deal with early.
They're looking for the gank. It is going to be Demo in the top side. Aragon already, or he's not actually, used the broken stopwatch this time to save his summoner.
Yeah. I mean, it was a working stopwatch, and then he broke it by using it.
Yeah, I mean, as I said it was broken.
Yes.
So I was just being a present tense caster.
Yeah. Living in the present.
Yep.
Living your best life.
Living my best life. Hashtag me. Hashtag Barcelona. Hashtag gelato.
Hashtag male model.
Hashtag Jake Matthews.
Wait, so he's the male model now? Why you hashtag someone else?
I mean, have you seen the likes he gets when he posts a selfie?
It's true.
Yeah. He's
Can't
a
compare.
good-looking dude. Speaking of which, good-looking stuff. It's a good-looking gank in the bot side. There's the black shield, but it's going to be a little bit early. Netsu pulling snugly in, who's going to go gold. And Netsu may be in trouble. Turret doesn't quite take him down. True Shot Barrage is not ready. Hyperion survived the gank.
Yeah, it was really close. But I really like the way that Snuggly responded. He threw down the Morgana ultimate, which actually locked Skarner in under tower, which forced the flash away. And quick response there from Hyperion to make sure that they don't go down.
Yeah, and it felt like it was just a really good binding coming out of Snuggly to really shut that down. Nestu taking far too much damage, but flip side of it is, and always is, that Demo gets to go into the jungle, take away that blue buff, giving Adam a bit more priority in the mid lane. He's going to need it. Starting to fall behind on CS, but with Van Gogh losing out on some of that tasty mana, then we'll have to see how Hyperion can turn that mid lane around.
So mana is tasty.
Mana is tasty. Can confirm.
It makes sense. It is magical after all.
Yes.
On the other side of the map, though, I'm still looking at this top side. Mundo has control, but when you're against a Klepto Gangplank, that doesn't necessarily mean you're ahead, because all he wants to do is scale, and as long as he's getting consistent Qs down, he's still finding gold.
Ragon's not having the laning stage of his life that he wants. That was a lot of damage going on to the old Gangplank. And Skarner hasn't been spotted, so I guess there's respect shown. There's also no teleport available for Aragon either, so Dan really winning out here.
And I really like the control ward that Aragon has in the top lane. It means that he knows that dives are coming in before they do, and on top of that, it means that they can't establish vision there and know that Skarner is not there, absolutely certain.
So far, Dan pushing onto the tower, a huge CS lead as well. 40 CS should be noted in the top side for this Dr. Mundo. Not really what you want from a Gangplank's point of view.
But you have to see, he's actually ahead in gold. He's already almost finished his Triforce at this point, but
Whoa.
okay, Snuggly.
Snuggly's in a bit of trouble. Dodging out, but can't dodge quick enough. Professor Zen picks up the kill. We do see that Nessu is here. I say Nessu, it's just Ness. It's Ness EU is the tag, but my brain won't allow it. Oriana's roaming down. Everyone's roaming down. It's going to be a party in bot lane.
Yeah.
Are you invited?
It looks like the party is in favor of bread.
Do you know what we have in Australia that I love?
Yeah.
Candy floss bread.
That
Not
sounds
candy floss.
horrendous.
Sorry, no, that's all right.
Yeah. That's more of an American thing.
I just invented something terrible. Hundreds and thousands bread.
Oh, yeah, I actually know that. So, while in my head, I still think that sounds terrible. I've had it before, and it's actually quite nice.
It's a standard 90s party. You know, if it wasn't on the table, then you were having a bad day.
Oh.
Super nice.
Speaking of a bad day, I'm actually looking at Aragon here, looking at the dive, and the tower maybe going down too.
Seismic Shove pushes him towards Dan XD. Demo snipes that one away. He says, thanks so much for the assist. And that's going to be the top side, finding another kill. It's 2-1 for Hyperion. This tower will fall as well. First brick in the top side going down for Hyperion. And let's recap. We're 2,000 gold ahead for Hyperion.
Yeah, and the big thing is there, because Mundo was finding those, the constant lane pressure, able to push up, he actually left the tower so low that that dive was definitely coming in. And even with the control ward that had been placed there, it doesn't matter, because Talia just roams in so quickly, and you're already under so much danger just from your lane partner alone.
Triforce now completed for the old GP. This is a good point for Digital Warfare. Ness back on the bot side. We're attempting it once more. Binding goes missing. It's got teleport coming through. Snuggly going to be the focus. He's suppressed. He's dead. Professor Zen with a kill, but Ness will be executed by the Mundo. And oh no!
Oh.
Talia's wall has put you in trouble. Van Gogh over the wall flashing. Tower will fall. Looks like Hyperion will just trade 1 for 1, but the kills don't matter when you're getting the towers.
Yeah, and the big thing for me there was actually a 3-man shockwave, which meant they couldn't follow up with the rest of their fight. And Digital Warfare get what they want there.
However, with the backs, you have to imagine there's a chance for Hyperion to strike towards the Drake. Will they go for it is the question. Demo is sitting around the area, so this Mountain Drake potentially will go the way of them. Maybe just looking at that scuttle,
Xerath over the wall, though.
Yeah.
Xerath's waiting.
He is waiting for a steal at the Drake. We won't get to see it. Here comes the replay. Ness.
Okay, so Ness goes for this, but Hyperion have already called it out. They were already moving people there. And you can see he's waiting for the Black Shield, finds the kill, but has been tanking tower for so long at that point that he goes down. Mango's put in trouble, but the 3-man shockwave
really nice
allows him the time to flash away.
And then from then, it is just a Drake and a Professor Zen dead. The steal was not successful from Digital Warfare. And that is just another kill going Hyperion's way.
Yeah, and the big thing there is he was standing over the wall for the steal. If you go for that steal, they know exactly where you are, so they just hunt him down.
So far, so good for the old Hyperion squad. Digital Warfare picking up this Heimerdinger, not really being able to make it too successful.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, he's still managed to get lane priority. He's still going to be able to continue to do that. I would definitely praise the way Demo and DanXD have played. Demo able to get map pressure both bot and top side, and then DanXD obviously winning his lane made that even easier for Demo to find themselves a kill.
Maybe already setting up for a bit of a story there for Hyperion. You know, the 2 members of Hyperion who have stuck around. Dan and Demo.
Yeah.
Really trying to be those strong forces, strongholds, you could say, for Hyperion. So far, so good, really. Dan XD, 60 CS lead up in the top side is what you want. Here's that missing kill. Professor Zen just overcommitted. The greatest kind.
Yeah, I expected him to stay over the wall. The fact he decided to walk forward and
I mean, he
do some
knew
damage onto them, it was very dangerous.
He knew that Dr. Mundo was in the bot lane farming. It just seems a little bit strange that Professor Zen would do such things, but it's happened, it's in the past. And I guess sacrificing a kill on your support for a Drake, I mean, if you were to manage to steal it.
And here's what Ness should have been doing. He's playing towards his bot lane now, but it may well be too late as Dan has just so much agency in this top lane.
Oh my god, he wants this kill. Aragon is in trouble flashing, but you can't run away from Mundo. Dan going to find the kill. His third of the game. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And every piece of agency that Digital Warfare had coming into this game has been lost.
Yeah, and the big thing is you didn't get the Heimerdinger and Xerath ahead quick enough. They didn't get first tower. It actually helps Mundo snowball that matchup even quicker. And you can see now he's able to just run down this gangplank.
Hyperion are in trouble as well, I feel. This Heimerdinger, Xerath starting to get pretty strong.
I would be more worried if I was Digital Warfare, only because they now have a lane that they just can't deal with. Mundo is too tanky and just too strong for this side.
I mean, we do have Executioner's calling picked up, though, on the gangplank, something that we didn't see yesterday when XL's Sendo just kind of went a little bit too big.
Okay, they're trying to accelerate the game on the other side of the map,
Yep.
which I agree with. And on the other side, they're doing what I expected. Demo is down there, was trying to set up a dive.
Yep.
Expected by Aragon, and he gets out of there, but it will probably get them an inner tower.
Ooh, Shockwave pulls Adam back in. I don't think there's going to be too much there. In fact, the Zonya's coming through the broken stopwatch, now broken, I should say. Vango walks away, but the Fleer Wall's coming. Demo's coming for a ride. Here's Ness, though. Could be a bit of a trade. True Shot Barrage will hit the jungler. Vango the main target, so he is safe. Now, we'll have to see exactly how Hyperion play around this. They've taken Vango out of the lane. You can see he's kind of forced into an awkward situation where he does want to defend his tower.
Yeah, I mean, they sent a few people to help him out because that was a really dangerous way to go if you didn't have the backup, especially with you being the effective front line there.
Me, specifically.
Vango, specifically.
Oh, okay. I thought you were praising me for being a good player.
You are not on the front lines, though. These guys are on the front lines. They're the ones who are playing for these ever important points in the Forge of Champions.
Yes.
And now, it's in something of a stalemate, because top lane's definitely winning, but so is bot lane for Digital Warfare.
Yep.
So, it's all about which one they can accelerate with.
Oh my goodness, Adam's dead! Bread finding the kill. Great setup coming out from Professor Zen and Vango for the assist, and now this mid lane tower will be under siege. Dan making his way down, but the Rift Herald's coming all the way from the second tier tower. Gives a lot of time for Digital Warfare to actually take this turret out before the Scuttler even gets here. I say the Scuttler, it is not quite that. Dan's jumping into the fight, getting stunned up, lots of damage, he's okay.
Oh,
Shockwave,
God.
they're just using everything, gonna use that broken stopwatch as it is. Now walking away, they're pulling back in Ezreal, I believe. No, it's Demo in trouble, slowed on down, the Sexton was shoved to keep him alive.
Oh!
Oh, Brad wants it, but he can't quite catch it. And now Digital Warfare are going to continue looking to try and siege. That's what their comp does. Potentially, though, it's too dangerous.
And this is the strength I was talking about with their side. They're able to constantly push up towers, but you can see how strong Dan is. He's able to just run through them, and I really like that he held onto the stopwatch, because as soon as he went into that fight, you saw the Ignite come down. They didn't have anything else to get rid of his to apply grievous wounds. And he just immediately stopwatches, makes sure he'll have the time to heal up as soon as it restarts.
Gold's, it's not too far apart, but it's Hyperion's advantage, especially through the giant CS leads that have been gathered in the jungle, and of course that top side as well for Mr. Dan XD. Very tanky Mundo doing Mundo things. Tier 2 towers, a breeze when Dan really does not have to worry.
Here.
Ragan could be in trouble, you're correct, but Vango's coming down, as is Professor Zen. They've got the Executioner's calling. Grievous Wounds doing its job. easy peasy. But look at this! Hyperion straight over to the Baron. They're going to try and get the movement speed from the Orianna. Oh, Dragon, what are you doing going the wrong way?
He's actually going back to the lane because he got the Gangplank ult down
Easy.
and they had to disengage.
Yeah, they walk away. They don't know how close they are. I mean, the Shockwave was used. Oh, no, it was not, actually. That's a good point. Vango still has it. And this is a really good rotation coming out of Digital Warfare. Straight over to that Mountain Drake, looking to try and equal that up. Really important to their composition that wants to siege as well, that they do have that extra damage towards those objectives.
So they're now strong enough that they can win 5v5s, and you can see that here. Dan, once the Grievous Wound is applied to him, between Xerath and Orianna, they have the damage there, and even Gangplank, while behind, as long as he has a team helping him out, can still apply his own damage too.
We'll have to see how that does apply in a big brawl 5v5 when you've got more people throwing abilities at you. That was a very safe attempt at killing the Dr. Mundo there.
Yep.
You have to imagine that Hyperion, when they do group up, going to make it a little bit more difficult.
And I don't disagree with what Hyperion's call was. They wanted to go for the Baron, but because Gangplank never had to ult for that fight in the bot lane, made it really easy to pressure them off, and they were right to back off at that point.
So Hyperion have control over this topside jungle. Lots of vision has been put around to make sure that they can try and find this Baron if it ever becomes available. Professor Zen and Ness. Oh, Ness, that's not where you want to be. Good route. Seismic shove. Lots of damage onto Ness. Oh my gosh, he's dead. With the jungler down, this could be Hyperion potentially looking to do something. The only issue is it's very difficult. Professor Zen would make it easier. Dan spotted out Aragon. He's all by himself, the poor Gangplank, using his flash, but Dan follows, dodges a cleaver, and here comes Bread for the stun. We'll push him back. You've seen two members down the bot side. You've taken down the health bar of the GP, but Hyperion are going to play this safe.
Still have that Gangplank ultimate, and they're still too scared of the potential of Gangplank ultimate on top of Orianna, and even Xerath poke. And they just don't have the quick damage to take out a Baron just yet.
Makes sense. Hyperion still looking to scale. It's only the 25th minute, just for clarity, in case you can't see the top side of the UI. Here's that replay though of Ness. I mean, he just walked into a death bush.
And the big thing here is that this was all allowed because of the amount of vision established by Hyperion previously. They had 3 control wards in that river area alone. And from there, Ness just walked right into them, and I like how they're playing around the Baron right now, because Baron going towards Digital Warfare could well be not a game-ending push, but certainly a momentum-shifting push very heavily in their favor, because Hyperion still remain in the gold lead.
Really strong position won there by Digital Warfare, running on over, taking away that Skarner Shrine. Only issue is that they may not be ready to fight over that area just yet. Hyperion will look to try and move back here and remove this vision that Digital Warfare have there. Let's see what happens. Gangplank ult does go down. Ness is looking for a target. Flashes away from Snuggly. Ness goes very low before the fight's even begun, before he can use his ultimate. Some good damage coming out of Professor Zen onto Snuggly, but I don't think it's going to be much that they care about. And now Hyperion have control over the Baron Pit once more.
And that was really well played by Dan. He actually completely cut off a Skarner who had Predator, who had Righteous Glory, and put down so much damage so quickly, with the Talia as well, that they just couldn't keep going for their engage they wanted, and now looking to pressure Baron.
Two-man Baron, GP ult is down. Let's see if Digital Warfare can sniff this one out. It's going to go down relatively slowly, considering.
I mean, Talia does a lot of damage quickly, but it's once she runs out of ground that hasn't been worked that it does slow down a bit. Still, an easy two-man Baron. They have complete vision control.
Absolutely. Great stuff from Digital Warfare. Sorry, from Hyperion. Digital Warfare sniffing it. Oh, maybe they get there in time. I doubt it. Oh, the flash over. Nessie wants the smite, but he's not going to get it. It's going to go the way of Demo. Suppress does come through. They're going to try and take some casualties, but no prisoners of war just yet. It's Aragon dead. That's going to be Bread going down as well. Vango finds one on the sidelines, but Ness is being chased to his death. Dan doing the work. There's nowhere for Skarner to run. A 3-for-1 in favor of Hyperion, and they get the Baron.
Yeah, with Hyperion being forced, or with Digital Warfare being forced to make a play there, Hyperion are able to pick them off one by one, as there wasn't a cohesive 5-man fight that they could find. Really well played by Hyperion, first of all, just to make the Baron call and get the vision control, but second, just playing that fight really cleanly.
Yeah, absolutely, and you have to wonder, was there anything that Digital Warfare could have done differently? Was a blue trinket not used in time to scout out that Baron?
Clearly they had some idea a little later on, because they went for the flash forward with Skarner.
Yep.
just wasn't quite able to get the smite off. And you also have to consider Demo was ahead, so had the stronger smite.
Now Baron secured for Hyperion. 27.5 minutes, and they've got themselves a pretty whopping 6,000 gold lead. They've got the Mountain Drake as well, which means that it's going to be even more trouble for Digital Warfare. We're going to have to try and hold off with their great range and wave clearing abilities.
I mean, they still have a chance here. If Hyperion over-aggress, they can definitely win a fight because they still have a lot of those tools that we previously talked about. The Orianna ultimate, the mass amount of damage coming out of Heimerdinger along with his ultimate and shock grenade combo. But Professor Zen
maybe in trouble. It's Nest the focus. Lots of damage going his way. Great lockups onto Demo there. Taking a fair amount of poke as a return. Professor Zen looking for the backline artillery, but Dan has found his way in. He says, hi, this is where I want to be. And he will be chased away by Aragon. He's going to heal himself up. So much damage has been dealt, though, by Hyperion, and they can continue looking to siege with this next minion wave.
They're actually looking to make a really heavy, aggressive push here, but you can see because Dan actually went for the Elixir of Iron, they just can't chunk through him. He has that tenacity as well, along with his W tenacity, and they can't even lock him up long enough to get rid of maybe even an eighth of his health bar.
I mean, as well as the Mercury treads, he's really just going for it. Here's that replay, though, I believe, of this Baron fight.
So you can see here that they're completely split up. You get Yusa running forward here. Bread ends up by himself with 3 members on him. Hyperion just held all the cards and moved around the map a bit better. Van Gogh picked a kill off of the side, but that was really a consolation prize at this point because the gold lead had sunk so far in Hyperion's favor.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we'll have to see. It's an Infernal Drake being taken by the team in red. Going to secure that just in time for the Elder to be the next spawn. We'll have to see if we even get that far. I don't think we've had a single Elder take so far.
And I'd like to praise Hyperion's draft here because the Mundo, first of all, allows for a really strong top lane matchup regardless of what they pick into it. On top of the fact that you have Snuggly and the Morgana able to counter all of the really heavy engage that you had Digital Warfare go for. And I mean, if you didn't have things like that, this game could be very, very different. Spell Shield certainly saving them a good few times down in that bot lane.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Lots of CS leads all around the map. We've almost got a Flame Horizon for Dan in the top side. I mean, if you put GP that far behind, that's great.
I mean, it's not particularly surprising. He has gone for that Storm Razor now, so still doesn't necessarily have the tankiness that Asterix would give him. Which isn't too surprising. When you don't go for Grasp the Undying, I was expecting a little more of a carry-oriented build, and we're seeing that come out here.
Is it all over for Digital Warfare?
Not yet. As I said, that team fight ability is still available to them. They just need to find Dan completely out of position and burst him. I'm not 100% if they have that burst, or if the 4-man comp from Hyperion can't just jump on them at that point. But they still have hope. They can hold the waves here.
Yeah, no, that's
try
for
scale
sure.
up.
Lots of wave clear available to the comp. They're going to have to try and use that to the best of their advantage. Hyperion constantly moving their vision forward into this blue and red side jungle of Digital Warfare. They know that they're playing the game on this side of the map.
And this is really nice to see from Hyperion. They're playing the map quite well, and especially when you're a team who didn't quite do as well coming into qualifying Tournament 1, showing that you can not only do well, but get past that round of 8. Really, really important for these guys to show that they're still a contender coming into the later stages of the Forge of Champions.
Yeah, for sure. Pressure in 3 lanes. 1-3-1 with Talia in the top side. Demo just putting as much damage down to this tower. Professor Zen, the one to be clearing it out, but of course with the Luden's Echo, he's got a little bit of damage himself, got a good amount of wave clear. Can just do that. And if Aragon can hold Den off, then Digital Warfare continue, I guess, scaling into the late game. It's just the only issue is that really where they want to be?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about how in the pick ban, how Gangplank was their only form of AD damage. And he's been put pretty heavily behind.
Yep.
While he has managed to get himself a few items off the Klepto procs, still not really going to be enough if team fights kick off. Like, one barrel isn't going to come close to really one-shotting anyone. And at that point, you have to rely completely on your magic damage. And every single member, aside from the Morgana, has MR.
Yeah, no, look at that. Banshee Veils all around the table.
And a Hex Drinker even on the Ezreal.
For the Ezreal, yep, absolutely. Everyone's going heavy on the magic resist.
And it makes sense. I mean, you have the heavy magic damage comp, and top of the fact Merc Treads is just nice for the amount of CC they bring out.
Yep.
And Quicksilver Sash as well being picked up by Ezreal, just in case they get through all those spell shields, all that MR. Now you can't be Skarner ulted.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of respect. You always have to, though. That's kind of what late game Skarner does, is that he becomes an ult bot, and so you have to build QSS.
Yeah, late game Skarner is, I forced you to build 300 gold
I
item.
flashed.
1300 gold item, I should say.
Watch out! In 5 minutes, I'll do it again.
Yeah. Next time, then. I mean, with Predator, that's part of why he came back into meta with that. It means he doesn't have to wait a whole 5 minutes. He can just run at you quickly, and Flash Force there from Bread. Again, that ultimate and Shockwave, you're starting to see why Heimerdinger was so strong, and top the fact that they got so much lane priority.
Yeah.
But just hard at this stage of the game, because your top lane was punished so heavily. You couldn't really maintain map control, and then from there, Talia and Mundo just became this massive issue to deal with.
Baron spawning. Just 5 seconds time. This is where things start to become a little bit risky for Hyperion. If they can't guarantee the amount of vision control that they kind of had previously when they went for Baron, when they went for Baron, then Digital Warfare's composition loves to find AoE areas.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking at. You can already see Hyperion are looking to regain that advantage. I like this response from Digital Warfare. See if they can set up a death brush of their own. It's like, you caught us in this area before.
I mean, how
fall for your own
how
play?
far forward do you want to go is the question. Looks like Snuggly's pretty happy
They don't need to walk that far, though, but they
Oh,
might do.
Adam Banshee's Veil.
Good ward. Smart. Doesn't walk himself into range, and he gets himself out of there.
Looks like Aragon's starting to get to a point with his Storm Razors. Starting to do a bit of damage. There's the Baron being started up here on a ward. Full vision of Digital Warfare. Let's see how far they can collapse, and if they want to is the question. Here comes the Xeraphol demo. Pops the wall down. Does
Not
put
sure he
himself in a
wanted that.
position. Oh, gets stunned up. Can they collapse? Yes, they can. Jungler down for Hyperion. These top laners are still just playing in the bot lane. And that's all that Digital Warfare need to do at this point. Push them off the Baron, but if they can find more kills, then that's great. They still have that Shockwave available for the Orianna. They still have the Skarner ultimate as well. Hyperion going to have to respect the fact that, really, that just didn't go the way they wanted it.
And the massive mistake there was Talia decided to ride the wall.
Oh no, Snuggly in trouble. Yeah, he's just dead.
Mistake
2 kills here. Ness is looking for the Ezreal, of course, with the QSS. That was going to go no other way.
But now it's Digital Warfare that have managed to find themselves some momentum. Still a massive gold lead for Hyperion. We can't deny that. But certainly in terms of map control, you can start to see Digital Warfare taking over. And you have the ultimate turret. Red could try to throw down. Ultimate not quite available yet. But
I mean, they don't
even
need
with the
to
turrets alone.
Hyperion aren't contesting this. They're deciding that they're going to pick up the Elder Drake. They've got 2 Drakes to kind of scale that Elder Drake up. And I'm sure in just a second that will be taken for them. But now we've got a Baron situation for Digital Warfare. They are going to look to try and siege, make this composition work. For the Elder Drake, though, it makes things slightly harder.
I mean, they can wait out Elder Drake using their Baron minions, and then you still have a good minute of Baron to use. So, no massive pressure on Digital Warfare to push up if they're uncomfortable fighting this Elder Drake, which they very much should be, because with Elder Drake, no one can kill Mundo, and he can kill you very quickly.
Let's see if they have that kind of respect in their systems here. Open bracket team Digital Warfare, they've been around for some time. You would expect that this roster would be feeling fairly comfortable with each other. I like this wave pushing game that Hyperion's putting out. They're saying, right, well, we've got the Elder Drake. It's our chance to really take control, momentum of this game. And with all members pretty much in that bot side, it's pretty strong. Ezreal clearing out the waves. I mean, this is just the Baron being taken by Hyperion.
Look, as I was calling out, look at Demo here. He got a bit low from Baron, but riding that meant he put him in range of everything that they had. And Digital Warfare just got a free pick there from Demo, just slightly misplaying.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Tried to cut them off, sacrificed himself.
Well, he didn't have to. That's what I'm saying. He could have just thrown down the wall and not ridden it into range of them.
Yep.
And instead, ends up going down.
So, at this 36-minute mark, one of the later games that we've had so far during the entirety of the scoring tournaments across the Forger Champions, what does this all come down to now? Is it just one good team fight? Is it just one missed position?
I mean, one missed position will very quickly snowball it in Hyperion's favor. In Digital Warfare, you need a bit more than that. You need to get the pick. You need to be able to push up without being punished by things like the Elder Drake, by good pickoffs, by Demo and Dan, which you've seen before. So it's still very much more dangerous for Digital Warfare, but they have control now if they can wait out that Elder Dragon.
Yeah, and I really like this call coming out of Hyperion, knowing that they've made the mistake. There's one way that they can kind of rectify it and make sure this next period of the game isn't just complete Digital Warfare control. Straight for the Elder Drake. Good adaptation. I'm going to point out that Dan has done it. The Flame Horizon is true in the top lane.
I mean, it makes sense. He is so much more control over that lane. Managed to get himself 100 CS more.
Oh, it's happening in the jungle as well, which is even more impressive.
Talia clears very quickly. Okay.
Oh my gosh, Aragon almost losing his life there. Demo coming forward, forces the flash. That's going to be a Skana rooted up as well as Ness trying to show a bit of courage charging forward. Van goes in trouble. There's the Talia war. Demo looking to come forward. Seismic Shove, dodge. Good Ariana ult. Actually, it's not a great Ariana ult because Benji fails the thing. Demo taking a bit of damage. It's just a brave face right now from the side of Digital Warfare. They've used a lot of tools. They're not really looking for a fight.
You can see a lot of things thrown down there from Digital Warfare, but because of the amount of magic resist built on the other side, they're just not able to get through those health bars quick enough.
Now for Hyperion, we'll have to see if they continue the siege game. Lots of damage available. The only thing they have to be concerned about is that the top side is pushing in favor of Digital Warfare. I mean, a quick TP from the gangplank could mean that tower goes down very quickly.
The big thing is they didn't want to relieve the pressure because backing now means you've pretty much lost your Elder Drake.
Yeah.
And they have, because they tried to make that fight. Digital Warfare responded quite well. And now they have a bit of time with Baron that they can try pressure themselves.
Let's see exactly how Digital Warfare are planning to use their Baron here. It is almost depleted. About a third left to go. That's enough time, though, to get a tower or two.
When you Heimerdinger, definitely.
Straight down the mid lane.
5-man death ball. You have all your ultimates back up.
Look at that. Hiding in the river. No vision to spot him out. He's looking to try and get the flank from behind.
Professor Zen could well be the pickoff here if Dan decides to go for this.
I mean, he's so low already.
Just tentative of the fact that they have a lot of lockdown, so he decides, I'm tanky, maybe not that tanky, and backs off. They've slowed down the Baron push, though, by just chunking out one of the members.
Ooh. Scary. It's a Dr. Mundo in a bush. Hyperion, this is their chance. They've kind of waited out the Baron.
Yeah. And you also have great counter push there. You have the ZZ Rock portal built on Mundo, so if they want to try to respond to Heimerdinger turrets, they can. If they win a fight, you can just throw that down and quickly end the game at this point in the game.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Baron is still there for just a little bit longer. It is going to start disappearing across the board. Digital Warfare losing their 1-2.
Oh, okay.
What a great Zhonya's timing from Snuggly. Here comes the Xerath ultimate. Yeah,
okay, he gets it with
Scorch. Woo! Oh dear. Okay, well, that's support straighted. Ness going to charge on forward. That's going to be the suppress on to the Demo. He is in trouble, but Dan's coming forward to try and save the day. He can't. Kill goes over to Ragan. Dan trying to take out Ness. He's going to pop the ultimate, going for Vango. That's going to be the shutdown coming across the table from Adam. Hyperion now charging into the base. They're going to look to try and end it right here, right now.
He's
if they
so
can find
tanky.
the kills is the question. Dan does not care. He has about 4,000 HP in a dream. This is going to be the bot lane tower falling in just a little bit. The minion wave comes forward, but it was not necessary. Inhibitor now going to be taken out by Hyperion. Question is, do they go for more? I think you just take this inhibitor and get out of town, but I don't think they can even take the inhibitor.
Adam's out of mana, and you can see that they're looking for the engage. Not going to be able to find it. Professor Zen is back up now, and I have to say, I still feel like Fiddlesticks would have been better support here, but we'll come back to this. They managed to get the Scatter of the Week onto Xerath, and then just immediately clean him out. And while Xerath provides a lot of the wave clear, it's just not quite as strong as something like Fiddlesticks, especially as it reaches this point of the game, but still, great fight from Digital Warfare to punish how far up Hyperion to play. Dan XD, though, insanely tanky.
Yeah, Adam and Dan using their flashes there, that inhibitor does stand, this game will go further. We got a Baron respawning in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about how they don't have a huge amount of engage unless Dr. Mundo just runs at them. And I think we did talk about how Scatter the Weak can be a great engage tool.
Yep.
And I think Adam has played this Cinder really well. Something that is a little further down in terms of priority has had a really good showing here.
Looks like there's been a couple of pauses so far. Clearly one of the players, maybe multiple players, having a couple of issues.
Yeah.
Let's see Snuggly.
Really well timed. Zanya's there to avoid definitely being killed with that shockwave.
Yep. Unfortunately though, I mean Xerath just did that. One tap.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just a shock quite finishing off, but really well set up by Adam, knowing where that ultimate came from to get a Scatter the Weak, which allowed them to kill.
Yeah, really nice stuff. So Professor Zen rooted up by the Baron Pit. There's the seismic shove, the flash away, but the crucial barrage from downtown. Yusa will take down the Xerath. Now with Digital Warfare down a member for the next 50 minutes, it's going to be Demo trying to set up some more. Vango in trouble. Yusa potentially overextended, but he's pretty safe if he just backs away, uses that arcane shift correctly. Dan,
Vango.
I mean, how far does Dan want to go is the question. I think if you're Hyperion, you've already taken down one wave clearing threat. You can probably just start to look to push into the base here.
Mundo goes where he goddamn pleases. And Dan has just kind of exemplified that this game with his playstyle. Just walking straight through towers, straight through champions, and right now, starting to walk towards that Baron.
Yep.
Along with the rest of his team, just setting up vision. He's actually in the bot lane.
I love
pushing,
Trisha
so they can't go there.
It's one of my favorite ways to see a kill come through.
It's also a really nice skin. It's like a little bird.
I think it's a ghost, is it? Is it a bird?
It's a bird, but maybe it's a bird ghost.
It's the ghost of a bird.
Yeah. A spectral bird of some form. Spectral sparrow. I think that's what I want to call it from now on.
Jake Matthews shaking his head in disgust to me. He's saying it's bad handwriting. Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed, I couldn't read that either. But moving forward.
I kind of want to decipher this. I know there's a team fight about to break out and Mundo's taking
Dan has the ZZ Rod. He
what's
can just
a fingula?
take this inhib. Anyway. Inhib goes down. Dan could just end the game himself if they stay too long in this Baron.
It does seem that way. Yeah, Dan. Already inhib down. ZZ Rot Portal continuing the push. And here comes a Hyperion towards the Baron Pit. They go, right, well we've done it. Pressure is off. Let's go. What they don't know is Digital Warfare are wanting the fight. There's the GP ult. Adam taking a bit of damage from the Baron. Down to half HP. That's a lot of damage actually when you consider it. And that's going to be the back off coming from Hyperion. Inhib Tower will be the win. And it's a big one because it means that they can continue this Baron dance over and over.
Yeah, I mean, the inhib's gone down. You still have the ZZ Rot Mundo there. You now know 2 people are here. You should be trying to scramble back towards that Baron. However, if you can pick up a second Elder Drake. Now, something we just haven't seen so long in this meta was that if you get 2 Elder Drakes, you get a massive buff on that second Elder.
Yep.
So, if that comes down for Hyperion, it just shreds people. It was designed to allow games to end as soon as you get it.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
So, I'm interested to see whether they decide to pick that up. They could just pick up both here.
Yeah, well, if Aragon's in trouble, Dan just so tanky. Cleaver's landing, then GP can't handle the Dr. Mundo show. Out in force. Dan just having a time of his life continuing the push. Did use his ultimate just then though. Now going to push onto this tower where Aragon's going to have a bit more of a chance to wave clear and push the Mundo back.
It's already a quarter off cooldown. So I don't think
matter.
Dan is too worried.
Dan's loving it.
And he's just going to get his ZZ Rot back up, continue this push, and hope to force Digital Warfare back. And if they have to back, it's guaranteeing Baron, and then they can go for that Elder.
I mean, you need hard engage, and you need Ness to get in there with the shock by the Ori Ball. But Ness is in trouble, out of position.
No.
Oh, never mind, it's Yes. Gonna have to flash away. Teleport's being channeled here by Dan. Is gonna come into the fight. Gives a bit of a chance for GP to clear things out, but that's just gonna be the Baron started up with a little bit more agency. Trying to push them away with a Xerath ult. Successful for now. Demo taking some damage. Vango doesn't want to get cleavered. Has to be careful. Bit of damage going back and forth. So far, so good for Digital Warfare, holding off Hyperion's Baron attempts.
Yeah, if they do not get that Baron, that's a massive win for Digital Warfare, because they still have the ZZ Rot bot lane. Gangplank was tied to that bot lane for quite some time. While he did have his ultimate, They should have been able to win the 4v5, not able to find it. Digital Warfare now, potentially going to be able to get some pressure towards this Elder Drake.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want to do. Make sure that that second Elder Drake doesn't come through. Some damage goes over to Dan here as well. Losing about 1,000 of his HP, but he does have that ultimate ready to go. Demo's in the local area. It is going to be this Elder Drake started up by the side of Digital Warfare. Something that they want to contest. Professor Zen is dead. Aragon is low. War going to put us in trouble as Vango can't take down Yusa by himself. Out of mana, out of life. He's dead. And Digital Warfare is stuck just trying to find a Baron. Smite does come through for them. They get the Elder Drake. Does not even mean anything because it's only Bread left alive and he's about to get toasted by Amundo who's trying to kill him so quick. Oh, he's going to get out.
Oh,
no! Adam doesn't. Ace comes through. This is it. Hyperion charging towards the base.
You still have Gangplank. Can Aragon make it? Q.
Nope.
Okay.
Finds one. Demo's dead, but it's a 4 down towards the Nexus turrets. Hyperion. All they had to do was allow Digital Warfare to make the moves, and that's exactly what happens. Elder Drake attempt comes through.
And this is the weakness of Xerath. If he's not allowed to play behind in the lane, allowed just to go for the siege, Professor Zen was just constantly picked off by really solid play from Hyperion.
Yeah, absolutely. Professor Zen just not able to sit on the back line like a Xerath wants, and Digital Warfare will be losing that first game due to an Elder Drake take that went wrong. Jake, I mean, you were sitting there observing with glee and intent. He said, I love Dowsey's voice, by the way.
Yeah, he was like, he loves it so much that he's going to shut off his own and just listen to ours.
I'm back. I'm back. Hi. I didn't say that. It's a familiar. I'm not very good at spelling. Or my handwriting is also bad as well.
Familiar.
Yeah,
familiar.
I mean, a familiar can still
like
some form of animal spirit.
It's like a catbird.
Okay.
Anyway, let's talk a little bit about that game. Dan XD, by the way, that was a big old XD. He just went where Mundo wanted, really.
Goes where he pleases,
Mundo
the general term.
Yeah, yeah. I feel sorry for Dragon Dude. He got...
Dragon Dude.
Yeah,
we're not even bothering.
I'm not even going to attempt it. He just got completely confined to a side lane in a match where, like, typically GP, you think, oh, GP versus a tank. This is a pretty free matchup for GP, but GP versus Amundo is the most unfree matchup for GP. He's just completely... all he does is wave clear at that point.
Yeah.
Because he can't trade... You can't win the 1v1 versus Amundo. Like, even with the fact that he picked up the Executioner's calling nice and early, and I'm very happy that he did so, it's a hard matchup for him.
The biggest issue was that when Dan XD gets that far ahead, he doesn't have to care about the towers anymore, so you don't have safe wave clear. But even just look at how Hyperion and Digital Warfare team fought.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can see it right here. Insane team fighting the whole time. Bread buys a little bit of time by going golden, but Vango just pops snugly on the top side, in the bottom side of the corner. But it doesn't matter, I mean, because the rest of the team are winning everywhere else on the team fight.
Bread had his flash up. He kind of mispositioned completely and then didn't attempt to escape his predicament. And I do feel like the Heimerdinger just didn't have the impact that you really wanted.
I think the Heimerdinger was fine. I question the support pick. I think Xerath gave them lane push, and that's all it did. I don't think, aside from one or two ultimates, I think something like Fiddlesticks, even a tank at that point, something like Alistair would have been better.
I do have a few points I want to make about this. Hyperion, realistically, on paper, should have won this game.
Yep.
They did win the game, obviously, but it was a slower win than I was expecting. And it felt like that game went a lot later than it should have gone. It felt like the Digital Warfare did a very good job of stalling that game out. Every time Hyperion tried to go for a sneaky Baron, it was always red. And Hyperion, going into game 2, I want to see how much quicker they can pull this out, because Digital Warfare definitely looks like the weaker team in this game. I mean, but they challenged them at every hurdle.
I do feel like that's more Hyperion respecting the comp that they're up against more than anything, knowing that there is the opportunity for someone to just get deleted, and if it's your Syndra, if it's your Ezreal, then you are in trouble. There were a couple moments where Yusa did look like he might just get removed from the team fights instantly.
But there were definite misplays as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
As Jake was talking about, because, you know, you had things where you tried to pressure the bot lane, and then just didn't run in time to the Baron. Didn't pressure things like that. And like things like that, like Snugly, it was well played by Vango to get the pick in the first place, but it's just a misplay to be in that range in the first place.
Yeah, I like how all our replays that start with Snugly just get absolutely decimated.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see here actually how strong Dan was. He just ran into a whole team 1v4, and he doesn't even get below a quarter HP with the ultimate on.
I mean, this play looks good for Dan, but it's actually all Adam.
Yeah.
Adam was the one that facilitated that entire play. Really good understanding of what was going on, that Professor Zen was in a range for a scout of the week that he could be taken out. Instantly goes through, destroys the Xerath, and then from that point on, it was flashes over the wall. It was Syndra ultimates to put Vango low enough that then the scout of the week and the pressure from Dan was enough to find a kill.
And I don't like to, harp on Professor Zen, because I don't think it was entirely his fault. Like, when you're playing as a Xerath, you should have an established front line, and Digital Warfare as a team weren't really protecting him.
True.
You could talk about whether that's communication, whether that's him mispositioning, or whether it's the team mispositioning. It could be either of those, any of those, but at the end of the day, it really hurt them this game.
Yeah, I mean, just questions coming through from this game, for me, for the side of Hyperion.
I thought you were going to transition to Twitter questions, so I'm
No.
glad you have real analytical questions
this is
for a
an
second.
analytical question. I do think there was definitely a few question points here for the side of Hyperion.
This
They
felt
team
desperate.
fight very well. It felt like they were a little bit over hesitant to go for team fights, even though they were just popping people.
Yeah.
You had Adam on the Syndra, and like that was just a full tank Skarner. Do you see how much damage he did with a Scatter the Weak Orb? Like, absolutely filthy. This was the biggest memes I've ever seen. Adam just flashes over the wall and gets him super hard. And then the rest of the team will tidy up the team fight and end the game off that. But 42 minutes is very slow in the current climate of this game. And in a game where, everyone looked at it and went, this is a pretty good game for Hyperion. It was a very long game, and I do think we do have a potential for Digital Warfare to take the next game. Just off, the fact that Hyperion were playing hesitant in the game, and then Digital Warfare were punishing them on that. Every time they thought they could get themselves a bit of a victory, a minor victory on the map, Digital Warfare did so. Every time Hyperion went to try and make a play on the map, Digital Warfare at least punished them for that attempt.
I feel like the one thing that Digital Warfare did very well was recognize the game that Hyperion were playing.
Yeah.
And so I think against a different team, Digital Warfare would have not been able to punish or hold off or play any of those different games because of the fact that Digital Warfare, Hyperion were just constantly telegraphing the way they wanted to play the game. They were constantly telegraphing that they were just looking for a single pick in the jungle constantly. If you just fall back and allow yourself to be safe, then Hyperion aren't really going to try anything too out of the box.
The issue I have is they picked a very proactive comp, and we're talking about how well they were in reactive situations.
Yes.
So that's part of where the weakness came in for me for Digital Warfare, because Hyperion in the early game were proactive enough to punish them.
Well, this series is definitely not tied up, and there's still a lot to play for. So we'll be back after a short break with Game Q. Don't go anywhere.
With the jungler, what's the smite? But he's not going to get it. It's going to go the way of Demo. Suppress does come through. They're going to try and take some casualties. But no prisoners of war just yet. It's a Ragan dead. That's going to be Bread going down as well. Vango finds one on the sidelines, but Ness is being chased to his death. Dan doing the work. There's nowhere for Skarner to run. A 3 for losing their 1-2.
Oh, okay.
What a great Zonya's timing from Snuggly. Here comes the Xerath ultimate.
Oh, he gets it. Whistle 6 would have been better support here, but we'll come back to this. They managed to get the Scatter the Weak onto Xerath, and then just immediately clean him out.